Today on Teach Me How to Vegan.
So anyway, let's talk about these grits because I love grits and the family doesn't love them too much when I make them like on the side, plain and stuff like that. People just aren't really into them.
I had never really gotten into grits.
So when we saw this and it looked good, you basically top them with
stuff.
A mixture of things.
Yes.
You start off with some chopped onion and you saute the onion and then you add some plant-based sausage of your choice. Then we add hash browns, fresh spinach, and then Tabitha also puts mushrooms. And then when they're done, I like to put a pat of butter in them, in the grits. And then
this is the kicker. This is where I think Chef's Kiss takes it to the next level.
Welcome to Teach Me How to Vegan,
a podcast where we explore how to switch to a vegan diet.
I'm Tony, a health educator, fitness instructor, and plant-based eating program manager for Animal Protection of New Mexico.
I'm Mickey, a stay-at-home homeschooling mom and vegan cook who likes to play in the kitchen.
Our family stopped eating meat in 2007.
And we went vegan in 2016. Now we like to share with others what we've learned.
Thanks for joining us.
Let's get started.
welcome to the show. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Welcome 2022. I think we're approaching cautiously optimistic for this year.
Maybe.
Excited to kick off the year with a new episode. So I wanted to do more breakfast ideas.
Because it's your favorite meal.
Because it's my favorite meal. Well, that's one, but two.
That's one.
Yeah, that's actually, one. Reason number one, it's my favorite meal. Reason number two, it's Mickey's most difficult meal.
Yes.
Tends to be.
Yes.
Especially when we went vegan, because before that we realized our life revolved around eggs and cheese, but mainly eggs, especially for breakfast. So reason number two. Reason number three is because I was reviewing our last breakfast episode, well, the one and only breakfast episode that we did, and realizing we don't eat any of that stuff anymore.
Oh my gosh, what was on it?
It's like, so yeah, we...
Well, it's probably because we hadn't discovered Just Egg yet.
Yeah. And, well, and actually several things.
Oh, okay.
So I just thought it was interesting, like, oh, those were the things we ate for breakfast most often back then, and things have changed now.
Okay.
And so good time to do an update, let people know all the wonderful new things we discovered.
Okay.
So also because, you know, it's the new year, it's Veganuary, people are starting their goals, or, you know, tis the season for people to set on changes. So this episode's also perfect because I feel like, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, these ideas that we're going to present today align with anybody's goals.
Oh, okay.
Like if you're trying to eat more whole foods, we've got ideas for you. If you're trying to just eat yummy, delicious food because you just want to go vegan for the animals or the environment, we got you covered. Like they cover all the bases.
Yeah.
So it felt like the perfect episode and the perfect time.
Okay. Before we get into what was the meals on the previous episode, I do want to say, if you are not feeling it this new year, like January is just bleh, still for you as an extension from last year or the year before or whatever is going on, that is a-okay. Maybe this can inspire you, and it's fine to start some other time, like the Chinese New Year, or you know, there's lots of other New Years that start at different times in our calendar year. And if you are just not feeling it this January, but maybe February you're feeling something, then let that be your start date.
Yeah. Thanks for pointing that out, because a lot of times in all the media, you know, podcasts, shows, everything, people get like New Year happy.
Yes.
And some people aren't feeling it, and they're like, I'm not into that.
It's
right now.
Not happening for me right now. I just don't have the capacity or the energy or whatever. And just know that that is okay. And you can, you know, there are lots of New Year's. I think the Chinese New Year is later this month. And there's another, I saw like a meme or something, like the Peruvian New Year is like in March or something. I don't know. Pick a New Year from another, you know, time or whatever, and roll with it if you're feeling it at that time.
I also think everyone's birthday
is
everybody has their own individual new year.
Yes.
That begins on your birthday, because you're beginning a new year.
Yeah.
Alive.
Yeah. That's
so
why,
I like to look at my birthday as like a resetting type of situation.
Yeah. I always like, whenever it's somebody's birthday, part of my wish for them is that, you know, oh, I hope the upcoming year is filled with blah, 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 because it is a new year for you, regardless of what our calendar and society says.
Yeah.
So
thanks for pointing that out. So wherever you're at, and if you don't have any cares about resolutions or changes or anything, and you're just
yeah,
let's talk yummy food.
we got you then.
Sit back and relax.
You're at the right spot.
Here we go. So
Okay.
real quick, just to like gloss over what we talked about in the last breakfast episode.
Okay.
We talked about quiche. We talked about tofu scramble, vegan fried eggs, our tofu breakfast bake, biscuits and gravy, tofu scramble. We talked about poor man's sausage, English muffin sandwiches, French toast bake, apple crisp, pancakes, and homemade breads.
Okay.
That's a whole lot of stuff, and you might be thinking you're kind of sounding crazy, Tony. What are we eating for breakfast then if we're not really eating those things?
Well,
and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like we're leaning toward a lot of new things now.
Yeah. So I think a lot of those still show up. They're just not staples right now. We're in a different phase of breakfast foods. And I think we do that a lot is we go through phases of what we eat. Like I imagine one of the new things that's on the list is baked oatmeal. Because I've been doing a lot of baked oatmeal, and honestly, it really just depends on my capacity. Like the tofu breakfast bake, tofu scramble, even biscuits and gravy have a lot of like components to it. And if I am just not feeling it, but I want a good meal, I will find something else that's easier for me to cook.
Right. And some of these are just evolutions, if you will.
Yeah.
If there's any Pokemon fans out there. You know, we've evolved some of what from our old staples into easier things.
Right.
So that's another thing. If you like easy or convenient or, ways to fix it and forget it.
Yeah.
Multitasking in the morning type of stuff.
Yeah. Like we had quiche recently, but it was because I was like, I have been wanting this for so long and we haven't had it. I'm making a point to do it today.
Yeah.
And so we had it recently, but we hadn't had it for a really long time.
Yep. So without further ado, let's talk about what we've been eating for breakfast these days and share. We've got like 8 new ideas.
Okay.
And some of them, like I said, are new. Some of them are evolutions. But starting off with the fabulous breakfast we had this morning.
Oh my gosh.
Which is this new thing. Where has it been all our lives?
I know. We call it Miss Tab's sausage breakfast because it's from Tabitha Brown.
Or I just say Tabitha's Grits.
Tabitha's Grits, yeah.
Tabitha's Grits. If you don't know Tabitha Brown on Instagram, you need to get with the program. She is everything.
Yeah.
I mean, she's
so much fun.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
She
amazing
does
food.
Vegan cooking and stuff, but then she's just uplifting and inspiring and just like if I'm in a bad mood, I'll watch her stories. And how could you be in a bad mood after like Tabitha tells you how wonderful you are?
Exactly. So her breakfast. Well, real quick side note, she recently opened a vegan restaurant. I think it's in the LA area.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like Kale My Name. I think that's what it's called. And oh my gosh, it looks so good.
We need to get out there.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's talk about these grits because I love grits and the family doesn't love them too much when I make them like on the side, plain and stuff like that. People just aren't really into them.
I had never really gotten into grits.
So when we saw this and it looked good, you basically top them with
stuff,
a mixture of things.
Yes.
So there's not really like a specified recipe. Like I said, this was on her stories and she just made it and you throw it all in the pan. So whatever amounts you want to do, and I'll talk about what kind of amounts we do. But basically you start off with some chopped onion and you saute the onion and then you add some plant-based sausage of your choice, whatever you like, whatever you're into. We typically use field roast. Tabitha used Beyond. I think Beyond would be, I don't think we've ever used that. It would be good because it gets a little more greasy. And then everything else you're cooking cooks in that greasy and soaks it up. But field roast is great for us. And if you don't like the greasy,
then field roast is
your way to go.
Yeah, and we cut the sausage like into coins.
You just chop it up,
like slice it into coins.
Exactly. And then we add some hash browns. So we use
some like potato shreds.
Shredded, you can shred potatoes, or we use the frozen.
Hash brown bag.
To make it easier and quicker, because
that's our business.
That's our business,
as Miss Tab would say.
Yep,
because that's our business.
Because that's what we do. And then we add some spinach, fresh spinach. until it gets wilty.
And then I think she throws some spices on there. I don't remember.
She does the
Maybe
sunshine spices.
Okay.
It's
But
like a spice mix. Sunshine, I forget what brand it is, or maybe
it looks really good. We don't have it, but it looks really good. But I think we just do like garlic and salt.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't even put garlic because Tabitha didn't put garlic, so I didn't put garlic.
Okay,
I put garlic in everything I cook, and if you know me, I'm a garlic.
You are.
And this was, you said, you're like, the first time I made it, you're like, you probably put garlic. I was like, nope, Miss Tabitha didn't put garlic, so I didn't put garlic.
Yep.
Really, it's just salt and pepper.
Yeah.
It's the sausage gives it so much flavor.
It really does.
The mixture of everything else. So.
And then you make your grits on the side.
Well, and then Tabitha also puts mushrooms.
Oh, okay.
Which we don't usually do because we don't usually have them on hand.
Right.
And if we do, it's for like something specific we want to make them with. We're not people who always have mushrooms on hand. So, but we've done it before and it's really good. So you could take or leave any of those ingredients.
That's funny. I totally forgot about the mushrooms, but the first time we did it, we had the mushrooms.
Yeah, this morning I was really like, something's missing and it's really bugging me. And then it hit me. I think it's
the mushrooms.
But it's fine without them.
It's so delicious. Great. Like, I completely forgot that it was quote unquote missing the mushrooms.
Right. So anyway, you make your grits on the side, whatever kind of grits you want, because Tabitha says that's your business. If you want to do instant, do your thing.
Yep.
We usually do regular. This time we had 5-minute grits. It's
whatever you can really find, because we couldn't find regular grits. It was only the 5-minute grits that we could find recently. So
that's true. And then when they're done, I like to put a pat of butter in them. In the grits, mix it all around. You put them on a plate. That's where I add a little bit of salt. And then you top it with your saute mixture. And then
this is the kicker. This is where I think Chef's Kiss takes it to the next level.
This is what you
gosh.
And then sliced avocado and sliced fresh tomato.
Yes. And do it. Oh my
fresh
gosh.
Tomato.
So good, you guys.
And then you put some salt and pepper on your tomato slices. And you take a bite of all the grit stuff together, and you take a bite of.
So you want the best bites, in our opinion, is when you get a little bit of everything. You get a little bit of tomato, you get a little bit of avocado, you get your grits, and you get a little bit of all your saute mixture. And it is just this beautiful, yummy, creamy, fresh bite. It's so good. Because the avocado gives it the creamy, the tomato gives it the fresh, and then you have all this wonderful savory stuff. So it's really this, like the tomato is like fresh and light, and then the grits and saute stuff is like savory and not really heavy, because the way we cook it with the field roast, it's not greasy, but just it's a really nice balance between the two. It's so good.
It is.
Like, I can't remember the last time we bought sausage and used it for something else. Every time I bought this field roast, I think it's the sage breakfast sausage or something like that. It's always for this meal. I'm always like, oh, I need spinach also because we got to have our Miss Tab's grits.
Yep.
So good.
And you might think it kind of sounds like a lot of work when we're talking about it. I don't know, when I watched her video, the first time I feel like it took a while, but now it's really a lot faster. It's on the table in 20 minutes.
Yeah, it really
Especially if you have help, if somebody else is there to help you slice the tomato and avocado and stuff, it's even faster.
Yeah.
Because you can get the grits cooking, then you do everything else while you cook the grits.
Yeah. If you have the regular grits and they take 20 minutes, you get those going first, and then you cook everything else, and it's already at roughly the same time.
Exactly. The timing used to work out perfect when we had the regular quote unquote grits, because you get them cooking. By the time you chop and saute everything, make your hot beverage, of course, your coffee or tea, then you're ready to serve.
Yeah. And then if you have the instant grits, you do all the saute stuff first, and you put the instant grits to soak while you're doing your tomato and avocado, and it still works out perfect.
Yep. 20 minutes.
I think we had this conversation. So side note and side tip, I guess, is Tony used to always be like, you cook so fast sometimes. And really, I think about the order in which I'm going to do things. And I think that's a big thing in the kitchen. Like if you're just starting out, do it in whatever order you're comfortable with. But as you get more comfortable, think about, okay, this takes the longest. Let me start that first. I can have these two things going at the same time, or let me get this started. I can chop this while that's going and go back in. And so you kind of need a game plan, almost like a strategy in the kitchen. And that really, I think that will come with experience, but just something side note to think about if you feel like you take forever to cook something in the kitchen, maybe start playing around with having a bit of a strategy and a game plan with the order in which to do things.
Yeah, that's a really good point and good tip, because that's something I've learned from you and I realized over the years, especially recently, when I'm like, I can get things on the table fast.
Yeah.
For a lot of different things. And it's because I do that. Okay, what needs to boil? What needs to bake? What needs to be chopped? What takes the longest? And then what can be passively cooking while I'm actively doing what else needs to be done.
Exactly. Yeah. And I feel like that's like when I brought this up and Teen was like, oh, because he's just starting to get more experience in the kitchen. And sometimes he's like, even with the dishes, like, how do you wash the dishes so fast? I even have a game plan with that half the time. Like, I think about how I want to stack, what do I have dirty, and how I want to stack the dish drain, because we don't have a dishwasher, how I want to stack the dish drain, and then I wash in that order to make it quicker and easier, as opposed to like, I don't have anywhere to put all this plate because I did all the cups first.
And then you're spending time rearranging.
Exactly. So it's sort of the same deal. And so Teen is starting to experience that too.
And so, yeah, it comes in handy with everything. That's why, like with, this breakfast, it's like, okay, what goes first, second, third?
Exactly. This is a good one to have a game plan
fast,
because then it can be quick. Exactly. Yep.
Good tip. All right. So that's probably one of our favorite things now. The kids love it.
Yes.
Yeah. So as I said, we're going to talk about amounts of things.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
Because we usually use one package of the field roast sausage, which is like 4 big, sort of hot dog sized, if you will, links.
Yeah. Like the, almost like the fatness of a jumbo dog, but not the length of a jumbo dog.
Right.
Yeah.
So we use that much. I typically use, if it's a tiny onion, I use like one really small onion or half of an onion. I would say it's about a cup of potatoes.
I agree.
Of hash browns.
Yeah. I think that's about, because you'll want to play around with the ratios that you like. So maybe start, because I think that's what Miss Tab started with, and we kind of like those ratios.
And then with the
spinach,
it's however much.
Yeah, because you put a forest in there and you get 3 leaves.
Yeah, so it's really however much we can spare, how much we have and how much we could spare. If we have a whole 16-ounce package with no plans for, I'll just throw it all in there. I've done that before. Nobody says
noticed
anything. It's good.
And then you get all these wonderful greens.
Yep. But like today we had a 10-ounce bag and we wanted to make something else with it, so I just put a few handfuls.
And I noticed that. And it
was
difference.
A little skimpy, but whatever.
Yeah.
So
and then that feeds the 4 of us super, super easily. Oh, how many tomatoes do you use for the 4 of us?
2 Roma tomatoes, and it was 1 good size avocado this morning.
Okay. And
that was enough for the 4 of us.
Yeah. Did Fortune eat all his food? Because sometimes Fortune doesn't eat all of this meal, and sometimes I don't eat all of this meal. So it could possibly go for 5.
It usually could, because he did eat all his food, but we've included a 5th person.
Yes.
When we have someone else with us, and you just stretch it out.
It stretches very easily.
Serves 4 to 5, maybe even 6 if you've got smaller appetites.
Right.
That much. And so I was going to say, the beauty of this is you could easily cook it for 1, because you just use one sausage link.
Yeah.
Cut
make
everything else a little bit down.
Yep.
Make 1 serving of grits. I usually make 4 servings of grits. It's like 1/4 of a cup of dry grits, and then you cook it up. It cooks up into like a 1/2 cup of grits or something. So yeah, you can easily adjust it for any number of people.
Yeah. And then if you as you play around with it, if you're like, oh, I really like it with more potatoes and less grits, you can do that. Or if you're stretching it even more, you can slice your sausage even thinner and put more potato or make more grits, to stretch it out even further for more people. There's 4 of us, there's 4 links in the sausage package, so we roughly do 1 per person. But I feel like this is a easy meal to stretch out among more people.
Right. And in terms of meal prepping, you could do the topping, the saute stuff, a whole batch of it
Yeah.
on Sunday.
Yep.
And then in the morning, just make your instant grits
yeah.
and warm up the topping and throw it on top.
Yes.
And you have a really good breakfast in less than 5 minutes.
Or if you like prep in containers, you could probably, I don't know how reheated grits are because we always just eat them all.
That's what I said about the instant
grits,
thing, because I'm not positive, but
yeah, but you know, try it and let us know if it works. If you do try it.
All right, we spent 15 minutes talking about
all
grits.
Right. Clearly we like Miss Tab's grits.
So anyway, let's move on. I'm gonna keep the episode going with 2 words. Just egg.
Oh my word, yes.
So this has become a staple for our breakfasts.
Oh my gosh.
And
we talked about it somewhere. Was it not in the last breakfast episode?
No, because we hadn't discovered it at that point.
Okay.
Truly delved into it.
Okay.
But we had mentioned how obsessed you are with it. I have no other word, but
yeah, no, I am.
Mickey has a real.
I really genuinely cannot wait for them to make a giant, like, you know, like in the bulk aisle at the grocery store with that giant tub of mayonnaise. I want a tub like that with Just Egg with a pump on it. That's what I want.
Because then, each pump equals like quote unquote one egg.
Yeah.
How many people are eating? How many pumps do I throw in here?
Yep. How many Just Eggs do I want today?
Yeah, so we really just like to scramble it and have it with whatever sides our heart desires. We've been really into English muffins lately.
Yes.
The other day we had it with toast, with Dave's Killer Bread.
My favorite is English muffin on the side, I think. And then I really like a hash brown patty with it. And I've been chilling out on the hash brown patties because I just, for a while, I couldn't find them actually. But, oh my God, Just Egg.
So the perfect segue, if you don't want to just scramble your Just Egg every single morning like Mickey would be happy with. Some people want a little variation.
It's funny because usually I want variation, but I like the Just Egg as it is so much that I will eat it multiple times a week. This is like the only scrambled. Thing. Yes.
That's the only thing that you're not like, any variation. But I discovered something you could do with Just Egg that's fabulous, which is a breakfast pizza.
Yes.
Because I remembered back in the day when I used to work at Papa John's, when I was a teenager, we would take, whenever I'd have to open, I'd take eggs in, scramble them up, and you put the egg on the pizza dough instead of pizza sauce. And then you put your like breakfast related toppings, if you will, like sausage, green chili, whatever, cheese. So I wondered if the Just Egg would bake just like scrambled eggs would, because it scrambles on the on the pan, on the stovetop. And so I tried that, and it is
so good, you guys.
It's exactly what I wanted it to be, and the kids are obsessed with it.
Yep.
So you make your pizza dough. We've talked about the pizza crust recipe.
We have
a lot of times.
Yeah, it's like really a 10-minute. It's like 10-minute pizza crust or something like that.
Minimal ingredients. Yes. So I make that, and I usually use a cookie sheet because we don't have a pizza pan, and I just make a square shaped pizza on a full size cookie sheet, and 1 bottle of Just Egg. You pour it, you make your pizza dough. I bake it for 5 minutes and then take it out and then pour the Just Egg just raw.
Yep.
Just pour the bottle out in there. Put whatever toppings you want. We like to do some type of vegan sausage crumbles.
And I think the first time we did it, all we had was the Morningstar Italian sausage. And it was amazing.
Super good. So those delicious sausage crumbles.
Did you cook those a little bit beforehand, or you just put it on frozen?
No, I cooked them beforehand.
Okay.
You might be able to cut the corner and just put them in frozen.
Yeah.
But I'm always worried that it's not going to come out right.
Yeah.
So I take the time while my crust is cooking for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That's when I'm cooking up the sausage and then getting whatever else I want to put on it. Sometimes we want to put like peppers.
Yeah.
Chopped peppers, or
I think we had spinach on it. Spinach in there one time.
Green chili. Whatever you put on a pizza.
Yeah.
That would go good with breakfast, know. And then, you pour the Just Egg. You put whatever toppings you want in it. You bake it for another 5 minutes at a high heat, like 500.
Yeah.
And if you want to put any, vegan cheese shreds, you have some of those. And
it was so good.
It's everything. And you don't need a lot of cheese.
You don't.
Like,
you really, really don't.
Because it does its thing with just a little bit. And it's really good and it's really filling. And it's like I said, everything I wanted it to be. Just Egg really came through. It bakes just like the scrambled eggs are supposed to bake. It's beautiful.
Just like it's essentially a vegan version of what you remember.
Yep.
What you wanted. Yeah.
Exactly.
That was so good. And then one time, did you do a quiche with Just Egg also?
I have not.
Oh, we haven't done that yet. Okay. Yeah. It's a problem because I really will just scramble them.
We can't sacrifice because I think we might need 2 bottles of Just Egg to make a full size quiche.
Maybe. Our pan at home was a deep dish pan.
Oh, we usually make a deep dish for the 4 of us because that's how we are.
Yeah, it's deep dish. So maybe we wouldn't need 2 if it was a regular pie depth. If it wasn't deep dish, we might be able to do just 1, especially with additions.
Well, maybe we'll
play around.
Maybe we'll sacrifice a bottle of Just Egg for a quiche and see how it comes out.
I also just really like our tofu quiche too.
Uh-huh.
So that's probably also why.
Why mess with it?
Right. But it is more work than I think the Just Egg quiche would be. So maybe we'll try it.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Another idea we have, and this is one of our evolutions, is sheet pancakes.
Yes. Oh my gosh. When I discovered sheet pancakes, like every once in a while the boys are like, can we have pancakes but regular pancakes? Because I'll be like, sure, put it on a sheet pan.
Because all you do is make sheet pancakes usually. Because why would you do anything different? So
why would you stand over a hot stove if you don't have to?
Basically, all you do is make your pancake batter like you normally would. We have an easy peasy recipe on the website. And you pour it on a cookie sheet, and you bake it.
I do like to grease the cookie sheet.
You do grease it.
You
pour it on a greased cookie sheet.
Thank you.
And you bake it.
Yep.
And then all your pancakes are done at once.
Yeah, and it's really like 15 minutes.
So instead of standing over the stove flipping pancakes for 15 minutes, your pancakes are cooking themselves while you're drinking coffee and reading your paper or whatever. I don't know, whatever you want to do in the morning.
Yes. And it's a really good thing for prepping because we usually I think I do a double batch of pancake batter and use our largest cookie sheet because it's deeper than the other one. And I think 1 batch in the smaller one would be just fine. But if you do a double batch and you use your large cookie sheet, you got leftovers.
So if you've got a lot of people in your house, you can feed a lot of people with it. If you've got 4
it's good
or
meal
less,
prep.
You got leftover for next time.
Yeah. And then the thing that's fun about this is you can mix and match your toppings in it. So you can you pour the pancake batter into the sheet pan, the cookie sheet, and then you can just quarter it in your mind, and you can put like strawberries in 1 quarter, chocolate chips in another quarter, sprinkles in a 3rd quarter, and blueberries in a 4th quarter. If you want a variety, or you can just mix your toppings in. We did sprinkles. I found vegan sprinkles at Sprouts, and I just put sprinkles on the whole thing and then baked it, and it was kind of cool because the sprinkles melted a little bit. And so there was it was like a confetti looking pancake. It was really like fun.
Birthday cake
pancakes. Yeah, it was really cool. It was really fun. And then sometimes we, make a like coconut creme topping.
We call it that because you can make coconut whipped cream by using a can of coconut milk, and you put it in the fridge so that the fat separates. And then you take only the fat and you whip that. I don't like to do that because we don't typically use the coconut water. Like some people will save the liquid from it and use it in smoothies or other stuff. We usually don't, so it feels like a waste.
It doesn't make very much.
It doesn't make a lot, so you need like 2 cans to make enough for everyone. And then it's just like pure fat that you're putting on top. I don't know. I'm just not into it. But one day I noticed that if you just use the whole can and you beat it a lot, and then you add some tapioca flour and a little bit of powdered sugar to sweeten it, and then you put it in the fridge and let it set, it thickens. Now it's not as thick and fluffy as whipped cream.
Yeah, it's not whipped,
but it's thicker that it's not like pouring milk on your pancakes.
Right.
And I personally like that texture. I'm into it. And we thought maybe if you beat it even more, you could fluff it up if you wanted it more fluffy. But whatever whatever you're into. If you want to do the pure fat thing,
yeah,
that's cool too. Like that's a total cool thing. That's your business. Yep. And especially if you use that water in
something else,
smoothies or something. Absolutely. That's a cool thing to do too.
So we call that coconut creme.
So we call it the creme. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we do that. Sometimes if it's a plain pancake and I didn't put anything in it, we'll just do maple syrup. And I just love it because
have fun with it.
Have fun with it. And it's really easy. And it's one less thing to be standing over the stove about. So while that's in the oven baking, you can saute up some sausage patties, sausage links, potatoes, or whatever you want on the
tofu
side.
Tofu
bacon, yeah.
Whatever you want to do.
Or sit and wait for it to be done. Drink your tea or coffee, milk, whatever you do in the morning.
Yep.
So
another one, which is I'm surprised we didn't mention this in the first breakfast episode, because it's been a staple for like a decade now, is soy riso and potatoes.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe we didn't say that.
Maybe it did come up at some point and I missed it, but
oh my gosh,
I don't think we mentioned it. It's Constantine's favorite breakfast.
It's his favorite.
Every time, and it's so easy. You just buy the soy riso.
Yep, it's
add
super
it to
easy.
your potatoes.
Yep.
I like sometimes when we want like a big hearty breakfast, we'll pour a bottle of Just
Oh
Egg.
my gosh, that was so good, y'all.
So
oh my gosh.
Cubed potatoes, and you cook those up,
mm-hmm.
and then you add the soy riso and saute it together, and then you pour a bottle of Just Egg in it, and you just let it all
oh my gosh, so good.
mend together.
Put a little cheese on it, and let me tell you, you can put it in a tortilla and make a breakfast burrito, and it is like
The best thing.
Oh
in
my
the
gosh,
whole
it's
wide world.
next level.
It's the best.
So good. And that one's great. Walmart used to have the soy riso regularly, and then for a time I was not finding it regularly. So I don't know, that might be hit or miss. You might have to be at like Sprouts, or I don't know, maybe Smith's or Albertsons has them.
Yeah, it's so weird because 10 years ago when we were vegetarian,
yes,
it was always available at Walmart. And now that, plant-based is such a thing, all of a sudden it's not.
I know.
I don't know what happened with that brand either. Or I don't know what's going on.
And sometimes it's like, we used to be able to find it actually by the soy riso, like
by the chorizo.
By the chorizo, yeah, by the regular chorizo. And then I was finding it by like the tofu, like the vegan tofu and the vegan sausage in Walmart, which is typically in their like produce section, their like refrigerated produce section. And then there was a stint where they didn't have it at all, and when we would want it, we would have to get it from like Sprouts or someplace like that.
Yeah.
So, but we're also not regulars at Smith's or Albertsons, so you might be able to find it there.
So another one this was like one of our biggest staples in 2021, I feel like, is sausage biscuits.
Yes. Yes. And those are one of my favorite meals.
And I think that's why they've been such a staple.
Yeah.
And no one complains.
And because when Morningstar when they finally had their sausage patties be vegan, and we could buy the box at Costco, and so we would have 36 sausage patties. It was on. Oh man, I went Donkey Kong on that. My goodness. Because literally sausage biscuits were one of my favorites. I used to want them all the time. The morning Constantine was born, I had said, God, I want sausage biscuits, and you had wanted Lucky Charms, and guess what my meal was in the hospital? So we could each have one. And considering I hadn't eaten for over 24 hours, I was really hungry. So like, I have fond memories of it.
I just want to say she gladly gave me her Lucky Charms. I wasn't like that guy.
He wasn't. He wasn't. I was just like,
I didn't even ask for them.
Here.
Okay, it was offered. All right.
And I think the nurse was like, oh, that's so sweet, because you were just like, no, they're going to think I'm such a jerk. I took your food. And
yeah. So anyway, fond memories. Yeah.
So, and I just in high school, it was one of my favorite things. Like, I had to get up really early for a nursing program in high school, and me and my friend would go through the McDonald's drive-thru and get sausage biscuits, grape jelly. So happy. So when Morningstar finally went all vegan, and the ones at Costco were vegan, I we went ham on it.
We went in.
Yeah.
And you just make the biscuits from the easy
Yep.
from scratch recipe, or you could probably buy some, but we like to just make them from scratch. They're really easy. And then while they're baking, you cook your sausage on the stovetop. We like to have them with fruit, whatever fruit that we have on the side. And we like to put jelly on the biscuit and then eat it with the sausage. You can't go wrong.
Oh my gosh, it's so
and
good.
This is where one of the places, so back in the green chili episode, we talked about how there's green chili jelly.
Yeah.
And actually it's really good. There's a time and a place for it. This is the time and this is the place. I think for spicy jellies, the like jalapeno jelly, or we had like a habanero
we
jelly.
had like a habanero strawberry jelly.
Or raspberry.
Raspberry. And it was really good on the sausage biscuit.
The spicy jellies on a biscuit with a sausage. That's that's where it is.
So good. For me, I just had it's grape jelly.
Grape is really good too.
That's like, I don't know if that's a Southern thing, if that's a Miami thing. I have no idea, but for me, the tried and true is grape jelly. If I don't have grape jelly, another fruit jelly works. But my preference, when I know I'm going to make it, I will specifically buy grape jelly for sausage biscuits.
Yeah.
And usually the boys know what's coming when they see the grape jelly in the groceries.
They're like, ooh.
Clearly, we enjoy our food.
Yeah.
So I hope you enjoy our enjoyment.
So another one you mentioned at the beginning, baked oatmeal.
Yeah.
We've been doing this a lot. Instead of making oatmeal, like on the stove. So I don't make this, so you're going to have to break it down.
I discovered this probably just perusing Pinterest because I really, I want to like oatmeal on the stove. I do. I want to be an oatmeal person, but I'm just not. I'm not. I will eat oatmeal on the stove, but I will not eat oatmeal on the stovetop at the level in which, other people will. Because for me, it's just oatmeal. The mix-in's great. All the different flavors, wonderful. And I don't know, after a while, maybe it's the texture. I don't know, whatever it is. So I was, and I had seen oatmeal cups, like little oatmeal muffins. And then I guess as an extension of that, somebody would just do baked oatmeal, in a pan. Okay, I'm going to try this. And it's basically you just take your oats. I think I always start with 3 cups of oats for our family. And this also ends up going into a 9x13 pan and becomes 2 meals for us. We can usually make it be 2 meals, especially because if you throw fruit or sausage or tofu bacon, something on the side. But it's 3 cups of oats. And I wing it.
So yeah, what all do you put in it?
There's
milk.
I'm
sure you don't have a recipe. But.
Yeah, it's oats, there's milk, there's flax or chia. Sometimes I'll do nuts, and depending on the fillings, the add-ins, there would be nuts, apple chunks, banana, pumpkin. I've done pumpkin spice. I've done blueberry lemon. I've done cinnamon apple. I did a s'mores one.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that?
I
was like, I want chocolate baked oatmeal this morning. So that one I mixed in some cocoa powder, some chocolate chips, some mini marshmallows that we had on hand still. And I think I either put in pecans or walnuts because I didn't have almonds.
It was pecans.
Oh, so no, I'm sorry. It was Rocky Road is what I called it. I called it Rocky Road. Not s'mores. But it could be s'mores. You could put in some graham crackers. Exactly.
Instead of the
nuts. Yeah. But yeah, I was calling it Rocky Road. And I baked that up like usual, and it was so delicious. And then I had some big marshmallows, but I only had 4 or 5. And what are you going to do with that? So I cut those up and put it on top and put it back in the oven for a few minutes so those could brown and toast. And it was really, really delicious.
The boys were in heaven that day. They were really into it.
They were like, it's s'mores for breakfast. It's Rocky Road. And they're like, it's Rocky Road for breakfast. So that was really good. So, and the fillings for that add-ins for the baked oatmeal is endless also, just like regular oatmeal. But I like this texture, I think, a little bit more. I think for me, I get over the texture real quick.
Yeah, it's not creamy in a bowl type of texture. It's
right.
It's more of
sometimes for me, the oatmeal in a bowl, from the stovetop, almost gets slimy.
You just don't like mushy stuff.
I think, I really need a variety of textures. If something's mushy, I need a crunchy texture with it. Because that's why, like, I'm not always like, yeah, let's do burritos.
Yeah, because it has to.
Because
you need like lettuce on top and onion and something.
Yeah.
Tortilla strips or something.
Yeah. So
we'll try to find a recipe.
I have a number of recipes.
Or you have a recipe that's
do,
like what you do.
That I started with.
Or that you started with.
Yeah, that
Your
I started.
Jumping off point.
Yeah, it was. And I think the first couple of times I made it was from that recipe. And then I just got comfortable with it and played around with the additions and the mixtures and stuff. So and it is really yummy, and I really do like it. And you can make it as sweet or not as you want, which is really nice. The flavors.
That's why here, this is another one, like I was saying at the beginning of the episode, where it could go whatever your goals are. Because if you want whole foods, that's your thing right now. The baked oatmeal, you can do fruits, and the flax or the chia, like you can make it really whole foodsy.
Yeah, dates for your sweetener, or the mashed banana, any of that. Yeah.
Right, or you could do Rocky Road. Either way. And not like the Rocky Road totally like breaks the
it really does
thing, because you used cocoa powder mostly for the flavor. It was just a little chocolate chips to add that little
Yeah, the like melty chocolate.
And then it wasn't like a whole giant amount of marshmallows.
Right.
You're mostly eating oats and chia. And, you're mostly eating the whole foods. So. Yeah. But it feels like you're eating junk food for breakfast.
Yeah, it felt like a nice treat for breakfast. And I think that's why the kids were just like, oh my God, what is this?
Yeah. So it could go either way. And I also wanted to say, this jogged my memory, because back when we were talking about the sheet pancakes, I just wanted to throw in a little tidbit that if you're trying to get more like flax seed in your diet, like more of those omega-3s and stuff, that's a place where you can really sneak some more in. Yeah. I found this out by accident because I was trying to do it real quick the other morning. I don't know what I was thinking, but I put like way too much flax.
Oh.
And I was like thinking I might have messed it up.
I didn't even notice.
Nobody noticed.
Yeah.
Well, this is what I was thinking, because...
You said that very emphatically.
No.
Nobody noticed.
Because I was freaked out. I thought it was going to be like, they're going to hate it. It's going to taste like cardboard. Because the recipe calls for 1 flax egg. So typically what you would do is 1 tablespoon of ground flax and 3 tablespoons of water. And then you let that sit. You put that in a bowl. You let it sit, and the flax soaks up all the water. And you get this like jelly substance, and that's your quote unquote flax egg, and you add that to your recipe. Okay, well, Mickey told me this awesome corner you can cut where you don't mess with any of that, and you just throw the ground flax directly in your dry ingredients. And then you just like let it sit for a little bit.
After you put your wet ingredients in, you just let it sit for a little bit, and it'll thicken.
For pancakes, it works just the same. Yeah. For pancakes, sheet pancakes, and actually several other things, right? It's like you don't have to do the water thing. Don't mess with that if you don't have to. So I was like, I'm going to do this really fast. And I was like, well, I'm doubling it, so I need 2 flax eggs. And for some reason, my brain was stuck on the 3 tablespoons of water instead of the 1 tablespoon of flax.
I thought that might be where you were going.
And I think I threw like 6 tablespoons of flax seed in there.
Oh my gosh. And good thing we had a big bag of it.
Yeah, when I did it, I was like, oh my God, why is this so thick? And so I put a couple tablespoons of water to not have
counteract it a little bit. Yeah.
Completely Play-Doh. And then I spread it out on the pan, and I'm just going to hope for the best.
That's why it was, because I saw you spread it out, and you're like, I don't know about this. And you're spreading, but you didn't tell me about the flax.
Well, because if I tell you, then, you got to just taste it and see. And literally nobody knew.
We really didn't notice.
Well, I said, I think I put too much flax. I knew I put too much flax. And I knew I put like 3 times as much flax as I needed. But afterward, I was like, oh, happy accident. Everybody got like a tablespoon of flax in their breakfast.
Yeah.
So they got their daily tablespoon.
Okay, so pro tip.
So we got our omega-3s and all the other wonderful things that come in flax. So I wanted to mention that that's a good way to sneak it in that you won't even know. The kids won't even know.
Yeah.
And I think that in the baked oatmeal, that's another place you can
Yes.
sneak in a little extra flax. I do this whenever we do raw oats, when the boys eat raw oats, I always throw flax in.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of throwing it in because they're not going to know.
Right.
It doesn't make any difference to them, but nutritionally it makes
a difference.
all the difference.
Yeah, exactly. And you might want to stay away from 3 times as much. Or
I mean, especially if you're like making changes, don't throw all kinds of flax in your food right now. That's your gut and your stomach is not gonna
that
appreciate
that.
Go slower.
Yeah.
So we've been eating lots of fiber for lots of years, so
Yes.
we can get away with stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, we can have those accidents in our gut, so usually just fine.
And we're just fine. Yeah. So you got to ease into it. But if you're used to having all that fiber and stuff, you can boost the nutritional value by sneaking in some more flax.
But yeah, I think adding like especially in like how much the sheet pancakes are, I think adding, an extra, it's not going to change the pancake part very much.
Right.
I agree. I think the baked oatmeal is probably another spot where you can get away with a little bit more as well. Mm-hmm. So, and then you can always just add a little bit more liquid, milk or water or something to help. If it seems too thick for you, you can add a little bit more water or milk slowly to thin it, to get it the consistency you want it at before you bake it.
Right. So if you're going to pour it onto your cookie sheet and you're going to have to manually spread it out because it won't just
It won't just spread on its own.
It won't reach the edges due to gravity. If it's that thick, then you might want to add a little more.
Yeah.
Soy milk or almond milk or water or whatever. And so that...
Okay. But you did that and you still had to manually get it into the corners.
I did.
But it worked. It was fine.
That's why I said nobody noticed. Okay.
All right.
All right. We've got one more before we wrap up. And this was something that you made for the first time recently that I think is really good. And it hasn't become a staple yet, but I'm hoping that it might.
Okay.
And that's apple bread.
Oh my gosh, yes. I was just thinking about that because we have apples that need to get got, so I'm gonna make the apple bread. Yay. Yeah.
See, I knew it was becoming
it
was coming
it's
into
so
our phase.
Yes.
Our state, whatever.
And we'll share the recipe or we'll put it up because I adapted it because it calls for so much sugar. And I actually, the first time I made it, I cut the sugar in half and it was fine. And then the second time I made it, I cut that half in half. So I literally put in a quarter amount of the sugar and it was just fine. And the reason why I did that is because I was taking it to a friend's house that we were doing some stargazing at. And so, midnight snack type of thing. And they don't eat processed stuff like that. They don't eat sugar and stuff. And so I was like, well, let me see if I can get away with literally like
a quarter
of what it normally calls for. And me and the boys because you didn't go with us, me and the boys who have had it, I think maybe that was the 3rd or 4th time I'd made it. I don't remember. I didn't notice the difference at all. I was shocked.
Which is crazy because when I tried it and you told me you halved the sugar.
We thought it was still
sweet.
It's still so sweet. Yeah. So
what would this taste like? It would taste like an absolute cupcake.
I know. I couldn't believe it. And I think because you shred the apple. And the first time I made it, we didn't have a shredder. I didn't have like a box shredder or any way to shred it. And so I just cut the apples into small pieces, as small as I, had the willpower for, I guess. I don't know, capacity. And then you're supposed to let it, I think I didn't even follow that. You're supposed to put it in the sugar and let all the juices like come out and the sugars infuse in the apple and stuff. And I don't even think I did that the first time. The second time I did, and I think maybe that's what helped it when I cut down to a quarter of the sugar. I think letting it sit with the apples is what really let it still be. It was so good still. And I actually bought the golden raisins that I got was for the apple bread because it doesn't call for golden raisins, but I thought golden raisins would be such an amazing addition.
Okay.
So golden raisins, regular raisins, apples, and I like walnuts in it, in this apple bread, and it's so delicious. And the other thing that I thought might be yummy, I don't know if I'll try it this time, maybe next time, is some shredded carrot. Because, because like carrot cake calls for shredded carrot, and I just feel like I think carrot would be a good addition to the apple bread. I don't know. We'll see.
I say try it because anytime you can get vegetables in your breakfast.
Yes.
That's my big thing because trying to get enough vegetables and greens throughout the day can be challenging sometimes. And I don't usually think about vegetables for breakfast. I'm usually thinking pancakes, eggs, sausage.
Yeah.
And so anytime you can sneak more vegetables into your breakfast, that's the way to go.
So maybe I'll try it with maybe this time I'll try it with some carrot, and if we like it, it'll be on the recipe, or it'll be like as a suggested addition, but yes, the apple bread is so good. And we like it. Sometimes we'll have like little sausage links on the side, or tofu bacon might be good on the side, but sometimes it's a very hearty bread. Like a banana nut bread is typically pretty hearty. This apple bread is pretty hearty too. It's got apples, it's got raisins, and it's got nuts in it. Like that's a lot of stuff going on. So sometimes I just like a nice thick slice of bread, warm it up in the microwave, a little bit of butter on top, and a hot beverage, and it's hits the spot.
Yeah, it's kind of a complete meal because you've got your grains, your fruits, your nuts.
Yep.
Can be its own.
Yeah. I'm glad you like it so much because it was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think for that time that we were at a friend's house, I just got like the loaf pans from the Dollar Tree, and I think it comes in a 3-pack, and they look kind of small, and I used 2 of them for the regular recipe, and I probably could have spread it out amongst the 3 because they're so small, because then when it baked there was this huge dome over the top, which is kind of cool. So it was fun. But yeah, it like you can make a couple of different little loaves or one big loaf or whatever. So, and our friends who didn't eat a lot of sugar and it was down to a quarter of the sugar, like everybody liked it. It was really tasty.
Yeah,
it was gone.
I'm glad you discovered that because anytime you can cut sugar, again, and keep the flavor. Again, I'm all for that.
Yeah. I just, when I first saw the recipe, it was almost equal parts flour and sugar. And I was just like, we can't do that.
You do that a lot. I've noticed that with sugar and with salt.
Yes.
You'll read a recipe and you'll be like, oh no.
Oh no.
I'm not putting all that.
I do. Yeah.
And it usually works out.
And it does usually work out, which is really nice because it really doesn't. And I don't know if we've built up to having less sugar, if that's a thing that's happened for us over the years. Because think about how we used to make tea.
Yeah.
When we first wanted to, years and years and years ago, we were trying to cut out soda and cut down on soda. And so we'll do tea. Tony grew up drinking iced tea. And I was like, oh, I really like it. And we used to put a cup of sugar in a gallon of tea.
And that's pretty much like if you buy a can or a bottle of sweet tea.
That's about the ratio you have.
That's the ratio. Or if you go to, Dion's and get a sweet tea, it's about that ratio.
About that ratio. And then we slowly worked on getting it down. And I think now we're technically down to a quarter of a cup?
It depends on how I'm feeling that day.
Okay.
Sometimes,
I see.
Sometimes I have a little more of a sweet tooth than not. So on a normal day, it's a quarter of a cup of agave or maple syrup is what we usually sweeten with instead of white sugar. And then some days when I'm feeling a little extra, I'll do a third of a cup.
A third of a cup. Gotcha. So maybe.
But that's like a fourth of what we used to do.
Yeah.
And now if I drink a sweet tea from Dion's, I'm like, oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
It's like wake up juice. Whoa, what was that?
Yeah. We usually need to order half and half at Dion's.
Yeah, you get the half and half. And even that is like sweet tea for me.
Yes. Yeah.
That's our version of a sweet tea is half unsweetened, half sweetened at Dion's.
So if you are more on the sweet side of stuff, then maybe you don't want to cut as much sugar.
As much, but you can probably still cut
But you
some.
can probably still cut some. You maybe start with like half.
Yeah.
So.
All right. I feel like we had some good tips and some nice little side tidbits here.
I think so.
And some really super good things that we highly recommend.
Yes.
Everybody give a try too.
Yes.
And yeah, let us know what you liked, what you didn't like.
Mm-hmm. Let us know if you try anything, if you make any substitutions or changes, any evolutions you'd like to share with us.
There you go. And yeah, thank you for joining us as always, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us. We release new episodes every 2 weeks. You can always email us at plantbased@apnm.org or visit our website at apnm.org/plant-based for classes, recipes, and more resources.
See you in 2 weeks.